Namaste, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to ICCS's 7th international gathering called Ancient Cultures Championing Humanity. ICCS, the International Center for Cultural Studies, aims to give voice to elders and recognize the contributions and the relevance of ancient traditions and their past, present, and future. It is led by volunteers and supported by well-wishers. So as I said, this is the 7th international gathering, and it's the first one to be virtual. We have volunteers from all over the world, a global audience, and over 40 traditions being represented at this gathering. So this panel is called Original Instructions, and it's going to be moderated by Fernando Alberto Silva. And Fernando is a professor of philosophy, religions, and traditions of the world at Rosario University in Bogota, Colombia. He studied Indian philosophy and religions at the Banaras Hindu University in Varanasi, India, and he performs in a number of theatrical and musical productions that are often related to Eastern myth and mysticism. But before I hand things off to Fernando to get this panel started, I'd like to also introduce Teresa Bear Fox, who's going to be leading our opening ceremony today. Teresa has always loved music. She says melodies just come to her, and since her late 20s, she's been writing music in Mohawk, and she used to write music for a traditional women's singing group called Contiwen and Hawi, which means the carriers of the words. And since 2001, she's also been writing music in English. And so today she's going to start our session with a song. And so without further delay, I'd like to invite Teresa to lead our opening ceremony. I hope you all enjoy.
My Mohawk name is Gagyokokta. It means I'm at the back of a crowd of people. I'm Ganyak Gehaga from the people of the Flint. And I'd like to share a song that came to me very strongly. And I teach it in the schools right now. And it's a way of giving thanks to everything in our creation, because I truly feel that we are all connected. And here we go. We're going to start with the melody part is Guahio Yanale, which means it's so beautiful. So that's the chorus part. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Teatino wala dos ne un queso a. Teatino wala dos ye ke isa honja. Teatino wala dos ne onega son a. Tunya dumhak ne wanikola. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Teatino wala dos negajo son a. Teatino wala dos negahi son a. Teatino wala dos ne ohande son a. Tunya dumhak ne guanikola. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Guahio Yanale, Guahio Yanale. Teatino wala dos ne ochino wasong a. Te atino wala dusne onu kwa sum a. Te atino wala dusne odela sum a. Tenye tung hak ne kwani kung la. Kwayo yanale, 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 kwayo yanale. Teatinu wala dusne gayan tosila. Teatino wala dusne gundilio. Teatino wala dusne ogwile sum a. Tunya dunghak ne guani la. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Teatinu wala dusne ojida okum a. Teatinu wala dusne la diwelas. Teatinu wala dusne gayelini gawelage. Tunya tunghak ne kwani la. Kwayo yanale, 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 kwayo yanale. Sungwachi agyo kane kagala akwa. Yetiso ta asuntane kagala akwa. Teatinu wala dusne ojistano kwasum a. Tunya tunghak ne kwani la. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Teatinu wala dusne gayelene okwetake. Tanchidenu wala dusne sungwaya dizum. Guachi oyanale on hodan losa. Tunya tunghak ne guani la. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale, kwayo yanale. Now go off. Thank you very much, and I hope you all like the song. When I go like this, means we all agree in our minds as one. We put all our minds together as one, and that we all agree that everything in our creation is so beautiful. Wahyo yanale. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Teresa, for that beautiful song from the Mohawk tradition. And thank you to everyone in ICCS for this really special invitation for me to moderate in this talk, where we're gathering with 5 very special people, very special mothers who are going to share with us their knowledge regarding the law of origin. I invite you, all of you, to write your questions on the chat section on any time of the talk. And at the end of the session, we will be able to answer each and every one of your queries. So the topic of this afternoon of this talk is about the law of origin, such an important topic for us to remember in modern societies, because this knowledge of the law of origin has been very clear for all the ancient civilizations. Every group of people, every tradition that looked at the sky, at the stars, knew that the universe is not random. The logic of the universe is not just pure chaos. There are some laws, some order, some process in time that if we are conscious enough, we can read and we can live according to it. So every tradition has a knowledge about these laws, about these laws of origin. For instance, in China, they call it the Tao. If you understand it and you flow with it, then you will live in harmony and there will be prosperity for the society. Or in India, they call it the Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal law. If you live according to those principles, then everything will flow slowly. Everything is in its right place. You will have an understanding of the nature, and then the survival of humans is secured. So, of course, these laws, this order is also present in the Native American and in the African traditions. So in order for us to go deeper into this topic regarding our own traditions and the traditions of Africa, we have 5 beautiful panelists here with us today. It is an honor for me to be here with you. And yes, we're gonna start with Elizabeth, who is a representative of the Mayan traditions of Central America, of El Salvador and Guatemala, and she has devoted many of her years to spread the knowledge of the Mayan people, to work with the different groups in Central and North America in order to make more visible and to share the Mayan culture with us. Elizabeth, it is an honor, and I would like you to explain to us what are these original instructions, you know, according to the Mayan tradition, and if you can exemplify it, maybe with a story, a song of your tradition. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. In the name of the heart of the heavens and the heart of the earth, the heart of the air and the heart of the water, and with the permission of our ancestors, good afternoon to you all. My name is Elizabeth Araujo. I was born and raised in El Salvador, and I live in the neighboring country of Guatemala. Guatemala is a world of where 2 nations live together, and it's the Western world and the Indigenous world. And our ancestors, they left us these laws. We had call it the consuetudinary rights. And in there, they are a set of norms for us to follow in order to have a life in balance and harmony with Mother Earth and with all nature and with everything that exists. They say that, you know, success is to go to bed in peace. Respect was the most foremost importance. Respect to the elders, respect to the parents, respect to the children, respect to the animals, the trees, respect to nature, respect everything, all forms of life. This is the most important thing.
Colonization brought greed, and this replaced the spiritual teachings, spiritual education. Now they prepare people for making money. You know, you get a diploma, and then the more diplomas you get, the more money you will get, which brings, you know, separation and other conflict. They separate you more from reality of life. We have failed Mother Earth. That deforestation, you know, affects the weather, affects the earth, affects the agriculture, affects us, and also brings more poverty. And so this is the main things. And to give an example of what we are doing to Mother Earth, and that brings a lot of conflict to the, you know, to the Mayans. It's an example that I'm going to give that is has a lot of the respect for Mother Earth, disrespect for and abuse for the Maya nation. In December of 2019, just at the end of the year, 3 US senators introduced a bill to Congress. They were Senator Rich, Inhofe, and Udall from Idaho, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, respectively. And this bill is Bill 3131. They were asking Congress for $60 million. The idea of this was from US archaeologist named Richard Hansen, who's been there for 17 years in this place. Taking sacred things from the site. The site is located in the El Petén Basin, which is nothing but pristine land. And there is one of the major sacred sites, ancient sites, Mayans, where the biggest pyramid in the world is in there. It's bigger, much bigger than Tikal. The reason of asking for this money was for security and protection of this Maya site. I mean, they don't have any consideration for the Mayans, even though there is a bill that there is an article in the Constitution, 169, that it protects the indigenous people, but this is just in vain. It doesn't really work for, in reality. It's an act of arrogance to say that they are going to come and take care of this place, where the $120 million is going to be used to build a 5-star hotel and to make a center for tourism. It's a denial of the Mayans, and it's a desecration of the land. This is what is happening now. Now, everyone who wants to protect the land, many elders, in 2019, in the first 6 months of the 2019, there were 12 homicides and 18 attempted homicides to indigenous elders, men of wisdom, and spiritual guides, because they are trying to working for in behalf of Mother Earth. But the Mayan people is a people of high resilience, despite all the, what they have suffered, the genocides, the discrimination, the abuses, the slavery, and doing the lowest jobs. They're still practicing. They've been able to keep the tradition alive, practice ceremonies even in public. And, just keeping the calendars, the whole tradition and the calendars alive. The calendars are followed every day. And as an example, I will tell you how they use the calendar. Last week, it was, we had 5 days of celebrations. It was called the Wayeb. And it ends up with yesterday, that was the first day of the year. So yesterday was celebrating a new year in the calendar that is called the Hab. It's a solar calendar that is the calendar for agriculture. Big celebrations every day with ceremonies and just giving gratitude for everything that we have, gratitude for life and for everything that we have. We have many people these days are waking up to want to know more about traditional knowledge. It's like all the knowledge was buried at one time. It was occult because the elders were such a wise people that they knew what was going to happen. That is, if it stay alive, it was going to be destroyed. So they bury it. And now is the time that, begins to germinate. And they say, don't forget this, the children, keep this in mind. He said, because the time will come when we will have to share this. So all of those who are interested in the indigenous knowledge, they are welcome to come. Life of the planet depends on us. And, indigenous people, despite everything they have suffered, they will always be. There is a prophecy that we have that say, we are the ones of yesterday, we are the ones of today, and we will be the ones of tomorrow. And this is what the skulls, the crystal skulls, symbolize. The crystal skulls are not to make money, are not to be on display. The crystal skull is a very sacred emblem of life. Life after death. When we go from this realm, the knowledge stays. And that's what the skulls represent, that the knowledge is still alive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for sharing that symbolism. Thank you for sharing the situation and the views of the Mayan people. Remember that to the audience, that you can ask your questions at any time, and each of the panelists will answer it at the end. Now we will proceed with Dolores. Dolores is a priestess from the Orisa and Ifa culture of Africa. So it is an honor for us to have you here, Dolores. And same question, we would like to know, according to your tradition, what are these original instructions? And if you can tell us more about it.
Alafia family, giving acknowledgement to Almighty God, the ancestors, the Orishas, Jesus, my spiritual mother, Ianifa, Mother Taylor, to all my spiritual teachers, to all the hosts of highest consciousness, to the seen and unseen guests, family and friends. I am Ia Efun Shade, also known as Dolores Zola Rolat. I am abundantly grateful to be here to share my wisdom. A worldview is a useful concept to discuss the areas where values, meaning, and purpose, religion, spirituality, and essential issues overlap. All individuals have a worldview. However, it is important that we hold space to create a framework for working with differing worldviews and differing values. As we all know, this has not been the case in our history. However, that framework is greatly needed now. The universe and Mother Nature are calling us to be aware of our own values and the values of others. These values are learned about and explored with clear, open communications between all parties. I live in America, where I was born and raised. However, this is not where I originated. This is where this life journey has landed me. My ancestors also did not originate here. I know my origins are in Africa. Africa, where it has been proven that we all originated. The oldest bones were found in South Africa. From there, many migrated or were enslaved and taken to other lands. That's how I came to be born in America. Although born here, my spirit does not reside here. My spirit is a global citizen of the universe. I guess you could say my worldview is also a global one. When I consider the question of the original instructions, the law of origin, I think of Mother Nature. Mother Nature is where all instructions originated. We as human beings must have regard for, respect, and connection to Mother Nature. From the earth we come, to the earth we shall return. We are Mother Nature. Our ancestors understood the science of nature and how we could empower ourselves through the knowledge of nature. Our understanding of the African creation story, the basis for all creation stories, understanding the deities and the science of the deities is empowering and aligns us with nature, allowing us to reach the highest level of consciousness. We have been out of alignment with our origin, and the world is suffering as a result. We see it every day. Nature is a knowledge-based system. Our understanding of this knowledge will be the guide to teach us how to interact with nature. There is nothing we cannot manifest in our lives with this nature, with this knowledge, nothing. There was a time when we were aligned with nature, and we can do it again today and manifest great things, do a lot of healing in the world, create spaces for people to interact and conversate. Let us create a social harmony where we are the holders of our families, homes, fellowships, memberships, kinships, ancestries, and communities, and worldwide communities. Let us hold tight and archive the indigenous ways of life or culture. Let us work in social harmony to create the coming together of the world. Let us see something special in everyone we meet. It is when we look on the face of another human being and we see that he or she is our brother and sister, we can be the light that will provide the way for great things to happen throughout the world. It is when we align ourselves with Mother Nature, our ancestors, and all the God has given us. This is when we will become one with things again. I would like to share a Yoruba creation story with you. I am a priestess in the Orisha tradition for 18 years, initiated to Obatala, and Oya is my mother. This tradition is one of many traditions that my steps have been ordered to practice in my lifetime. Each path has a creation story, and all are more similar than they are different. So let's get started. In the beginning, before the creation of man or woman, there was only the sky above and the water below. And this was ruled by the mighty Orishas, the council of God. Olarum ruled the sky above, and Olokun was master of the waters below. Olarum, also known as Olodumare, God of all gods, gave Obatala the task of creating solid land. So Obatala went to the god of prophecy, Arunmula, to ask for advice. Arunmula said, "You will need a long golden chain, a snail shell full of sand, a palm nut, a chicken, and a black cat." Obatala scratched his head and started trying to find these things. He went to see all of the other gods and asked them to give him all the gold they had. When the gold had been melted down to make the chain, he created a hook to put at the end of the chain. He found a large round shell with a beautiful pearly surface and put it in the canvas bag he carried over his shoulder. After picking up a palm nut and coaxing a chicken into his bag, feathers flapping, he was ready. He secured the chain with a hook from a corner in the sky and lowered the other end slowly down. Cautiously, he started climbing down the chain. Hand over hand, down, down, down he climbed. He climbed for a very long time. The chain swung slightly as he moved, and he took a deep breath. He got to the end of the chain and realized with horror that he was still a long way away from the water. He looked up. The god of prophecy shouted to him, "Tip the sand out of the shell and release the chicken." Not knowing what else to do, Obatala wrapped one arm around the chain, gripping it so hard his fingers turned white. He fumbled in his bag and took out the shell. As he did so, sand poured from the shell into the water. At the same time, the chicken, seeing a chance of freedom, escaped from the bag and landed on the sand. It started scratching and scattering the sand around in all directions. The sand became vast valleys and mountains. Obatala planted the palm nut, and before long, there stood a forest of palm trees. Obatala became ecstatic with his work. He named the land Ife and settled down with his cat to live on his new land. It wasn't long, maybe 3 months, 4 months, before Obatala became bored. He began to form figures out of clay. He made more and more clay figures. While making the clay figures, he became thirsty. So he made palm wine out of the palm tree. He drank palm wine, lots of palm wine, and made lots of clay figures. He asked Olarum to breathe life into the clay, his clay people. Obatala was exhausted from all the work and from all the palm wine that he had drank. So he retired for the night. The next day, he saw his living, breathing work and realized they were deformed and not the most pleasing to one's eye. In horror, he swore to never drink palm wine again. Obatala started working again, building new perfect beings from clay. As soon as Olarum breathed life into them, they immediately began building houses and cities. Obatala became the patriarch of mankind, and more specifically, the deformed. All of the Orishas were pleased with his work. All of the Orishas except Olokun, the master of the sea, who never was consulted about creating the earth and mankind in the first place. In anger, he caused a great flood, which nearly wiped out all of Obatala's creation. Once the waters subsided, everybody took the sea seriously and learned to respect the sea from then on. In summary, let us go to our source of higher consciousness as we understand it, to Mother Earth, our ancestors, our deities, with clear intention, powerful intentions and begin to manifest great unified harmony for our futures and for the futures of the world. Ashe, Amen, Amen, and so it is. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dolores, for sharing your knowledge, the knowledge of the Yoruba tradition with us. I'm sure that for us it's also a great honor to have you here, and thank you for sharing that story.
It is an honor to be here.
I remind all of you at home that if you want to ask something to Dolores or to Elizabeth, you can write your questions on the chat, and at the end of the session, we will bring these questions to our panelists. Now, I would like to introduce you to Steen, who is a practitioner of Anishinaabe, one of our indigenous traditions from North America, especially surrounding the 5 Great Lakes. She's healer using the Anishinaabe methods for over 30 years. Steen, is an honor to have you here with us. Please share with us the views on the original instructions of the Anishinaabe people. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Mani Estin Dishnikas, Yiwedin Plan Dishnikas, Mijika and Doden, Mizizadi Donjaba, Mijika, Dodem. I just introduced myself in my language. And Anishinaabe people, we live around the Great Lakes. So we do a lot of ceremonies. We practice a lot of our teachings. And when it comes to our gatherings, our ceremonies, this is probably something that's very, very important. So with the original instructions, and this is probably a story that I'm going to share. And it's a true story. It's a true story that when we're looking as to where we are as Indigenous peoples, where it is that we're going, how we're going to get there, and what it is that we're going to do. In my history, I grew up on the reserve. We had day school, residential schools. We had all the probably a lot of what was going on in all over the world. So we had a lot of that when the Europeans had come over. So we lost a lot of that. And when we lost a lot of that, we ended up going into violence. We all lived in that space in that time. But when we go to our ceremonies and we're listening to our creation stories, or if we're actually doing the pipe, because we do our pipe ceremonies here. We do the hand drums, we do the shakers, and then women are starting to get together now and wear ribbon skirts and just dressing up. That's being Indigenous. Those are the original instructions that we have received from the Creator, Bijemnado. And when we look at Bijemnado, the Creator has given to us those original instructions. And as a healer, as a practitioner, I like to use those original instructions as part of how we're going to move forward in this world, how we're going to even learn something different, learn something new. And we could see that and we can come to an understanding about that, because these are things that are important to who we are as the people. And I like to use the term the people because it's all over the world. We are the people. Indigenous peoples in Europe, Indigenous peoples in Australia, we are the people. One of the, because I like medicines, I like plants. That's my, I guess you could say that's my forte. No matter where I go, I work with the plants, I work with the medicines. As a healer that goes into clinics, I go into First Nations clinics, and I work with the people, I prescribe remedies. But the importance of those remedies. And this is a story that happened to me about 2 years ago. And in this story, because of the original instructions, the creator, when the creator made us, he gave us 4 gifts. Gave everybody 4 gifts, some 7 gifts, some 8 gifts. It all depends on where you're from. But these 4 gifts that he gave us was the 4 medicines. So these 4 medicines, tobacco, cedar, sweetgrass, and sage. And those are our medicines that we use. I always say we're doers. We can go and do this. We can go and fix this. We can go and create, because we're creators too. We can create energies. We can create. We can manifest. You're hearing that all over the place now as people are moving, as the earth is moving. We're creating. We're creating something new. We're creating something different. But how do we get there? How do we get there? How do we do that? So we have to go back. And we have to use those 4 medicines. And we also have to use the medicines that are within our territories as well. And this is a true story. And as all, when I was growing up, I didn't grow up with the language. I didn't grow up with ceremonies. But there's that Indigenous knowledge that you already have. It's already born with you, that Indigenous knowledge. It's already born with you because you are already connected to the land. So you're looking at this connection and you know you're different than everybody else because of that connection. So when you're, as you're doing your journey, your path, and you're walking, you're noticing creation. You're noticing the sun, the stars, the plants, the trees, the winds. You're noticing creation. And you're always saying, well, Creator is giving us all these gifts. The earth, she feeds us. The earth gives us the food. The earth gives us the water. The earth gives us the minerals. The earth gives us the tools that we need to survive. So she gives us these. She says, here, I'm going to give you this. But when it comes time, I'm going to eventually need some assistance someplace sometimes down along the way. So this story that happened a couple of years ago, and I have my medicine wheel here behind me. And I had the 4 main medicines, and I mentioned them to you earlier. So when I made those medicines, I made sacred tobacco. I like to make sacred tobacco. Sacred tobacco is what I use when we take something from the earth. We put tobacco down. We put our sacred tobacco down. And it's consisting of the 4 main medicines. So we always put that tobacco down. Naramoshen Shkapanakwe, Naramoshen Bishamiro, Naramoshen Manado Damwen Daganat. So we're always putting down that tobacco. We're always making that offering because they're always giving to us. They're always giving to us. So as the story goes, my girlfriend, she had said, I want to go to this yoga retreat, and I got nobody to go with me. But I like doing yoga. So I said, well, okay. She said, but I want to stop off one place first. She said, there's a place where the whales come in from the St. Lawrence Seaway. The whales come in at a certain time. And when they come in, you don't know if you're going to see them or not. So this happened in April when she had come and asked me. She said, so you want to come? I said, yeah, okay, I'll go. So what I ended up doing is because as the Indigenous peoples of the land, we're always giving the gifts to creation, right? We're always giving the gifts to help the mother. So I made sacred tobacco. I made the 4 main medicines. I put in other medicines inside. So I had this nice jar of sacred tobacco. And I had made lots of it. Because I know in my mind, as small as we are, and as big as those whales are, they're so small. So I made lots. So when I said, okay, I'm ready to go, I didn't tell her I made tobacco because we all have different beliefs. But it was something that I knew that I wanted to do was to make that offering of the medicines and to give it to the whales. Because that would be my very first time seeing whales. So we go out on this journey and she says, don't be surprised if we don't see any whales. I said, okay. I said, well, either way, I'll be happy just to go and know that we went to the St. Lawrence Seaway, and when the whales came in, if they were there, they were there, and if not, that was fine. So I had my tobacco in a nice cloth bag. And my friend, she says, go and do your stuff, do whatever you need to do, she said, and we're going to go drive now. We're going to go look at the whales. We had to make arrangements to go on the boat. So we got on the boat. And prior to that, I put my tobacco offering down. And I talked to the sun. I said, take this offering of tobacco because it was raining. I said, take this offering of tobacco to the sun so that when we get out there to see the whales, we can see the whales, if the whales are going to come. But I had tobacco in a pocket. I didn't want anybody to know I had tobacco. And Anishinaabe people are like that. We're all like that. We hide our medicines in our pockets. And then when we go places, we just put it down. Miigwech, miigwech, miigwech. So we got onto the boat. And I took my tobacco and I put it in the water at the back of the boat. And I prayed. And I said, this is medicine for the whales. This is medicine that's going to help them. This is medicine that I come to give. So I went back inside on the boat. So we're sitting there. Next thing you know, you can hear all the people running around on top of the boat. Everybody was just, oh, my friend says, I wonder what's going on. People come down, there's whales out there. There was the beluga whales, the white whales. I thought, oh my God. So they came. So the next day, we had to make another schedule to get on another boat. And this time she says, what did you do? I said, I just put my tobacco in the water for the whales. I said, because I wanted to see the whales. And I just put my tobacco in. So I brought my tobacco pouch. And sometime during the night, the whales, they said, we want some silver. We want some berries now. This is, so when you're intuitively connected to creation, they talk to you like that. So I told my girlfriend, I said, they want silver. She says, well, I got a lot of nickels and dimes and quarters and toonies. I said, that'll work. So we had a bag full of silver. And we had the sacred tobacco. And then they wanted berries. So we got blueberries, strawberries. And we brought them with us. And the young crew captain, he was a young crew captain. He says, I don't know if we'll see any whales. He said, because we haven't seen any whales here and people have been coming here for years. This is this young crew captain telling me this story. Oh, okay. So we get in the boat, me and my girlfriend, and they had these windows where you can just stand and you can look and you just, the water's right there and you can. So I started putting my tobacco in the water. Not emotion. This is medicine for the whales. This is medicine for the water. This is medicine for all the sea creatures. And we put the silver in. This is the gift that you had asked for. We put the berries in. These are the berries. This is. So I kept doing that. Next thing you know, there was whales all around us, big whales. And I'm standing there, yay! Just clapping my hands as I get to see the whales. How amazing is that? That is so amazing. My friend, she says, huh, I'll believe it when I see the one with the big tail. But you know, the one with the big tail showed up. Connecting as Indigenous peoples. We make medicine, we are the doers. When we're doing that, we make the best. We make the best of who we are. You know, I didn't grow up with knowing my plan. I didn't grow up with dressing like this. I grew up in small reserve. We couldn't fit into the town because our skin was brown. We just come back home here. Oh, okay, this is where you belong. And this is where we belong because we belong to the land. So when the land, when she calls to you, she's calling to us now. She's saying, come on, Anishinaabe people, Indigenous people, come on, make your medicines and don't put it in the water. As a teacher, I teach. Sometimes I'll do that as a teacher, I'll teach. I'll say, come on, make that medicine. And you know where I got that teaching from? It's from my uncle. My uncle. Always, always use your tobacco. All the time. That's what the creator, the Shamnado, that's what Swakamitra needs. Make that tobacco. And I always used it. When I'm smoking my pipe, or if I'm running sweat lodge, or if I'm doing doctoring, they give me tobacco. So these are ways that are here for us. And you know that young crew captain, when he got off the boat, he says, you know what? He says, I was watching you. I saw what you were doing. He says, this is a very spiritual journey. Oh, okay. Right on. Good. So when my uncle talks about this, we are co-creators. We are the ones that can do this when we make our medicines. And I tell women when we do our ceremonies, make some medicine tea, make some abo, Ushkika abo, that's what we call medicine tea. Make some medicine tea. Take that medicine tea and put it into the water. Can you imagine how many people in this world, if they made medicine tea and went and put that into the oceans or went and put that into their lakes? Whoa. If they made that tobacco, that sacred tobacco, put it on the Mother Earth, the spirits of the land, your ancestors who haven't left that land yet, here's an offering of tobacco. Because that's what our people used to do. My grandmother, she would give that tobacco. She would say, whenever you know that the spirits are around, you give them that tobacco. You're honoring the spirits. I do workshops with young kids, young people. They make sacred tobacco now in schools around this area.
Thank you, Estin.
They put it down. And I tell people, if you're going to make tracks, if you're going to walk this earth, if you're going to make tracks, you need to carry that with you. And you need to put that tobacco down. Mama Sama, mother, stop in the prayer. I'm going to help you. This is a good life. We call Mino Bamatsawin. Mino is good. Bamatsawin, good way of life for the Anishinaabe people. Mano. You know, this COVID is mono. Mono is let it be. Because this is our time as Indigenous people to sit and talk. What do we have? That's probably why we're having this gathering. Well, what do we have to talk about here? What can we learn from each other? What medicines can you make that we can use over here? What medicines that you can make that we can use over here?
Thank you, Estin.
Just listening to those teachings, listening to those stories. You know, okay. I always said, I'm not going to leave my little corner of the reserve. And I do live on a corner. So I'm never leaving my little corner of the reserve. But
thank you.
Spirit has work. Creator has plans. Spirit has work. Creator has plans. When we understand that connection, when we understand how that connection is, then we're going to put good tracks for the next generations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Good tracks. Regret.
Thank you.
Regret.
Thank you, Estin, for sharing all your wisdom and the wisdom of the Anishinaabe people. Now we're going to give the word to Sarah. Sarah is going to share with us her worldview from the Mayan Mexican people. She has been working with the Mayan communities based on her own upbringing for many years. Sarah, thank you for being here. Please do share with us what are the original instructions from your tradition.
Thank you. Banka Walikech,
Intaba Sara Zapata Mijares, Mundo Maya Foundation. Tesi gentilum, Yucatan ti mayab, intustikesh malo, uts titulakesh. Hola, hello, how are you? I was born in the Maya land of Yucatan, Mexico, and I send you my regards. Tomorrow is International Mother Language Day, but I think it should be every day that we celebrate, not just tomorrow. And in talking about our original instructions when we're born as Mayas, some of the practices that some of these instructions are that we live in harmony, in balance with Mother Earth, and we stay connected, okay? And I think we're losing a lot of that. And I like to say a prayer to the four directions in Mayas as we know it, so that we can go back and try to achieve that. So I say to me, which is the east where the sun rises, the west where the sun sets, Shaman, the north, where we find the moral and spiritual ascension to the cosmos. Nohol, the south, which is the yellow road for the elders, where it's the gateway to where we're supposed to go back when we transcend, you know. When we're born, our belly buttons are either buried on Mother Earth, or is tossed on top of the houses, so that we stay connected with the cosmos as well, okay? So that we always stay in harmony and in balance with our cosmos and our Mother Earth. And I think we have lost a lot of that, okay? And to go back to how do we recover that? And one of my teachers, Alberto Agar, we talked a lot about the awakening of our Maya consciousness, okay? One of the interpretations that I believe and I follow is that Maya for us means ma means no, and ya, no pain. So we're supposed to be the people of no pain, and yet we live in a world full of pain. Is it by choice? That is the question, you know? So in order to go back to find that balance and harmony with Mother Earth and our cosmos, the star nation, there's three principles or three premises that we can follow to go back to that. And one of them is that universal salutation that when we see each other, we say, in lakech, alakem. In lakech, I am you, alakem, you are me. You are my other. I am your other. We're one, okay? Which is the same as namaste, okay? We are one. So what do we do when we say that? With this salutation, we acknowledge the divinity on each one of us, okay? When I see you as a divine light. And when you see me, the same. So we're a reflection of that light of each other, okay? And if we go back to respect that and acknowledge that, I think we'll start becoming better individuals in how we treat each other as human persons, okay? In a better way, in a more respectable way, you know? The second one is that equality between men and women rather than equality, okay? Because we're not equal, at least from my perspective. We're different genders. We complement each other. We enrich each other. So no one is better than the other. Sometimes when we look for equality, we want to be the same. And we have to acknowledge that we're not better, not worse, but complementary, which is, I think, a greater gift for each one of us when we recognize that, you know, we recognize that divine light of each other. And then the last one is the reconciliation with the Mother Earth. Go back to being green, okay? That we were born from the earth and we go back to the earth. You know, we have to return to the cult and practices of love and gratitude to that Mother Earth that gives us all without asking for anything. I think we have lost so much touch with Mother Earth, you know. We teach our children not to step on Mother Earth. You know, you always have to wear shoes. So we have to go back to that feeling that we're part of it. We were born out of it. We're going back to it, you know. We have to teach our children to hug the trees. You know, the green is the gold, not the gold as we know it now, you know. So we have to return to that. And in following those three premises or those three principles, I believe that we can go back to recover a lot of what we're losing. We're losing our language, okay? The Mayas, there's between 5 and 12 million Mayas, okay? The language is the second largest spoken, at least in Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize. And yet we're losing that ground. Okay, so we need to go back to reconnect and remember that we're divine creatures. Okay, and that we living in a world right now where money and power and greedy is the way that we are teaching our children. We're upbringing our children. We have to remember that we're not, that our original instructions are not based on that, okay? Not based on power. So we live in a very stressful life that creates and brings a lot of illnesses that before did not exist, before the conquest didn't exist, you know? So we have to go back to that consciousness, okay? Of acknowledging our divinity, teaching our children that we belong to the earth, and that we're very closely tied to the cosmos, you know, so that we can begin to recover, to reconnect, and to create that new reality that we need to live right now, but based on the original instructions, okay? We call it pandemia. Is it really a pandemia, or is it a plandemia? You know, was it planned? Some people question it, okay? But in the meanwhile, I really invite everyone to think about going back and raising that consciousness, to go back to becoming the Mayas that our elders were, that our abuelos, our abuelas were, and that we retain our language, that we do everything to teach our children and our grandchildren, you know. And although we don't want to work with the government, it's important to work with the government, because it's through the school systems we can help if we put enough pressure that the language be taught in the schools as well, okay? Because I was a person that grew up with my grandfather. A lot of what I learned from my grandfather, my abuelo, you know. My backyard was like a milpa. It was a field. It was a farm. We always had vegetables, fresh vegetables. You know, my mom was a teacher, and when and every December that she got her bonus, her Christmas bonus as a teacher, we would go back to the capital to Merida, you know, and buy 50 little chickies that we would raise during the year. So we always had a fresh meal with fresh vegetables. And I was very close to my abuelo in learning how to do that, you know. I grew up, and my dad would buy a candle. You know, we was 4 children, and my dad would cut the candle in 4 pieces. And then, so that piece of candle, that quarter of a candle that you had, is like, if you play too much outside and you allow the darkness and if in the darkness you have to do your homework, then you use your little piece of candle, you know. But those were the times when we're really in tune, and we need to go back to that. Okay, so it's a challenge. It's a big challenge, you know, and listening to all the elders, the abuelas or grandmothers speak today, I realize that we have a big task ahead of us, but I think is that our responsibility as a person that was born into our culture, you know, to go back and rescue as much as we can and continue the practice as much as we can, you know. So so I'm very grateful for being part of this event today. And right now, although I have lived 52 years in Los Angeles, California, I am right now in Yucatan for the last 5.5 months. So the little town in which I am is no different than being in India. There's a lot of motorcycles outside. I have chickens and roosters on one side as neighbors, you know. But I think that we can, like I said, based on the original instructions, create the new reality that remains strong, you know, in balance, in harmony with Mother Earth and with each other. So with that, I would say, Ilakech Alaken, I am you, you are another me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sarah, for sharing your knowledge with us. Now we will proceed to the questions of the audience. So, Eleonora, if you can read out some questions for our wonderful guest today.
We have a question from Marta Snopinska, and she wants to ask this to Elizabeth. She's asking, how is the Mayan culture preserved? She's asking if the Mayan culture is part of the official school curriculum, or is the separate education schools classes for the Mayan children?
Okay. Most of the education, the Mayan education, is done at home. It's in the family. The women are always carrying their babies in their back. When they do cooking, like in festivals or get-togethers, a lot of women, neighbors and friends, they come and they all share the cooking. They're in the middle of the house and the floor. They sit around the fire and with their babies there. So the babies, from that time, they start listening to their mothers, you know, talk about different things, and usually has to do with, you know, cultural issues. This is how they are preserved, you know, the culture. Also, the mothers, you know, since with the breastfeeding, they are transmitting some of the knowledge, and they're always carrying their babies. You know, it's not like in our the modern, by necessity or whatever, you know, now that children are grown away from home. But with the Mayans, they always are with the mother. And also, you know, one time they had to practice the tradition in hiding. And it wasn't after, you know, maybe some recently that the place, it's the time that it opened up and they can do, you know, ceremonies, even in the middle of the downtown, in front of the presidential house, or you know, different places. They are free to do the ceremonies. It's a very difficult situation because, well, now some of the schools are introducing the language, but they need indigenous teachers to teach the language correctly. Because if you have learned a language, you are missing a lot of insights to the language, and you are trying to teach that to the children. So they are a little short on that. Also, the universities are coming with, in order to graduate, the person has to, to learn the language, at least one language, because there are 23 Maya languages spoken in Guatemala. And what else is the question? What else? Anything
it was
else?
Mostly about the education of the children, if it was a special education or if it was
the children yes, they are teaching, at least in different areas, they are teaching one of the major languages, and like some teach the Quiche, others the Cachiquel, others the Quechí, depending on the area where they are. But mainly the education comes from home. And also they are practicing, every day for whatever need they have, they do ceremony. They don't wait for a Sunday, it's time to go to church. The Mayas do it whenever they feel like they need to do a ceremony. And the children are always present. So that's how they are learning the tradition and the ceremonies. Also, when they get up every day, they start with the energies of the day, and the children are learning from the beginning. They are learning the meaning of the days.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, we have another question here to Dolores. Someone is asking here, how do we reconnect people to Mother Earth, wherever they are or wherever they come from?
Could you repeat the question, please?
How do we reconnect people to Mother Earth is the question. Wherever they may be, wherever they are on the, or wherever they may come from.
There are a lot of ways to connect to Mother Earth. One of the easiest ways is just to take your shoes off and go stand on the earth and connect in. Just be one with the earth. Go roll in the grass, play in the sand, wear crystals. Crystals are another way of connecting with Mother Earth. Utilizing any of the elements that come from the earth, doing ceremonies, smelling the flowers, just, things that are real, that are in your environment that you can connect with. Find out if in your area, if there are people who do ceremonies and rituals to Mother Earth, which it happens all over the world. And with this virtual platform, it's easy to connect to other people who are doing things with Mother Earth and trying to connect back to their origin. And one of the other things, and when I think of Mother Earth, is really broad. I also see that as a part of nature, as the moon and the sun. Go stand in the sun, observe the moon. Just be mindful of everything that is around you and connect with it. Connect with other people. Whenever there's an opportunity to do so, just connect. Take the time to smell the roses. Take the time to pay attention to the birds and the bees, just the simple things that are around you every day. And remember to breathe.
Thank you. This question is to Teresa. Teresa, is there a strong interest from the younger generation into learning about this spoken tradition, to the sound and the healing and the song of the tradition? And what kind of role does this play in the community?
the song that I sang today. The kids are connected to it right away. Like when the song came to me, that's how I heard it. All the little children's voices were singing the song, the part of the Guayo Yanale. And it's like I got a message that this song needs to be written and taught to the little ones to learn. And it will be a basic way of for the children to be able to give to say thank you or nyama to everything in creation, and to acknowledge everything in creation, to feel that connectedness. So I think it's a very powerful song that I'm teaching them, and I'm hoping that everyone will learn from it, like adults, children, everybody, to have that, to acknowledge all the creation around us and to feel that connection. Because I always remember feeling that connection when I was a young girl. When I walked outside onto the grass, it's like everything was talking to me. And I would like look at it and I'd say, Yawa, like I felt that connectedness. I remember that as a young girl. And I want everyone to feel that also, like to acknowledge that. So yeah, I'm hoping that everyone will learn that.
Thank you, Teresa. Okay.
You're welcome.
Fernando,
Okay.
how are time? I think, do we have space for questions?
Yeah, Leonora, I think we ran out of time already. Thank you, everyone. It has been a great pleasure to have you here. It has been a great pleasure to hear your stories, to hear your worldviews. And I invite all of you at home who are watching us to stay tuned. In 40 minutes, we will start another session, Plants, Sounds, and Humans, where we will see the relation between the humans, the music, and how it is related to the nature. So it's going to be really interesting with also amazing guests. So we will close this session with a closing ceremony that Dolores will share with us from her Yoruba tradition. Thank you very much and hope to see you soon.
I would like to do a prayer and a meditation. Let us take a deep, mindful breath. Connecting with our breath. I will pour libation. Libation is an offering before I pray. I have water in my hand, and I also have a plant, represents Mother Earth. And I will pour an offering as I pray. Ome tutu, one tutu, ile tutu, tutu lore. Olodumare, Allah Jehovah Jah. Orishas, ancestors, archangels, angels, light beings, Jesus, prophets, Buddha, all of the highest consciousness, all of the highest host, seen and unseen guests, giving thanks for this glorious day and all that has been shared in these moments, and for everyone within the sound of my voice, and for those who may not be present physically, however, are with us in spiritual love. I give thanks for Mother Earth, nature, wisdom, grace, mercy, and unconditional love. Giving thanks for all the organizers of this conference, the technical staff, the delegates, and everyone I may not have mentioned. In you and through you, we can do all things. as you have blessed us with everything we need to manifest all things needed, to care for ourselves and to care for others. Let us set powerful intentions to do good in the world, to spread the greatest gift, love, to everyone we meet and to those we have not met yet. Let us honor the elders and provide guidance to the children. Let us give back from what we have been given so graciously. Let us do our part in holding a space for our healing and to support the healing of the world. Greater is he or she that is in me than he or she that is in the world. Let us recognize who we are and our greatness and come together and champion humanity. Let us be the change we want to see in the world. Now let's take 3 more mindful deep breaths as we allow our collective positive thoughts to fill the space that we are in and to touch everyone present in this moment and those who are with us, those who have transitioned on. Let us remember that we are able and more than capable of creating and championing humanity. Let us move forward boldly and make a difference in the world. Let this day and every day be a day of gratitude. Ashe, Amen, Aham. Namaste.